Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another Manchester United podcast. It feels like it's been a long time. I don't think I've personally been on a video for about a week now. Obviously, we've been celebrating Eid with the family, so obviously, Eid Mubarak to everyone. We celebrate a bit late, but Pakistani and all that. Always late, you know how it is. But listen, make sure you stay tuned for another good podcast. As always, get your comments in, drop a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're joined by fantastic panel as always. The homie the first time on the channel, and hopefully it won't be the last. We got Fahad in the building. How you doing, brother?
All right, mate. How are you? You okay? Yeah.
Yeah, all good. Alhamdulillah. Good to have you on, bro. Obviously, we've been talking about starting a podcast and whatnot. I was like, yo, we need to get you on. So, absolute pleasure. Definitely. As always, make sure you check out the links down below. Obviously, their socials will be there. Below me, last minute. Some would say, inspired by Sir Alex Ferguson. You love to see it. We've got our homie Chris in the building. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, really good, man. Really appreciate being here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, absolute pleasure. Obviously, thank you very much for coming on lastminute.com. And last but not least, the very lovely and always very active on social media. Make sure you show love to her as well. We've got Alice in the building. How you doing, Alice?
I'm doing, thanks. Pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me on.
Yes, let's get into it. Obviously, you guys can see the title. It is regarding Harry Kane, but first and foremost, we just want to get through some of the other bits and bobs. I haven't actually spoken to the guys in a while, so I just want to get your thoughts on the couple of things. First and foremost, just regarding some of the injury situations. I want to start with Harry Maguire. There was a report today that I did actually see. Apparently, Maguire and Martial, I suppose Martial being a different story, but Maguire in particular might be missing the final. Fahad, we'll come to you first and foremost, bro. What do you reckon? Do you think Maguire is going to be missed, or do you think we'll be all right with what we've got?
Obviously, he's definitely been ruled out. I think he will be a big miss because he's the captain of the team. And as you see now, 3 games that we've played without him, it's a big difference when Maguire plays and when he doesn't. I know on social media, a lot of people are quick to tend to call him out. But you know what? When he's played, he's commanding. They say he's not a leader, but, from the clips that I'm sure all of us have seen, he quite is a leader in that defence. And as we've seen in that Liverpool game, everything just imploded in that defence. So obviously, I think without him, it will be a big miss. But the thing is, we have to remember, we're not playing Real Madrid or Barcelona. We're playing Villarreal, who are 7th in their league. We played Real Sociedad and had a much better performance against them. And obviously convincingly beat them at their own stadium. So I'm obviously going for him not being as big a miss because think about it, we've got ample defenders that can obviously play in his position, and I think they've got quality to do well in that game, as proven in the Leicester game and the other games. Obviously, we can see these stupid goals like we always do, but obviously something that we can work on.
Yeah, and I think you made a very good point. Obviously, I think his commanding presence is something that we have definitely missed for me personally from the games that I watched. I think in terms of the leadership, it's interesting that you said that because a lot of people, including myself, I know my brother as well, who's in the comments, Kojo as well, actually, is here. I criticised Maguire relentlessly, throughout the whole season. Criticised him about his lack of leadership. However, in the last couple of games, Alice, do you feel like the United fan base, I don't really care about Twitter, but the United fan base in particular have been too harsh on him, have, finally seen Maguire for what he is, which is a valuable asset to the team?
I think the first half of the season, I think Maguire wasn't brilliant, and he was right to be criticised because he was meant to be our leader, but we all sort of like Bruno's our leader and stuff. But I think the second half of the season, ever since sort of November, I think December time, Maguire's been really, really good. I think the second half of the season, he's been really, really good. The odd muck up here and there, but I think we're definitely without him. We're really learning to appreciate what he offers because we always thought Maguire's problems, Lindelof's problems, Maguire. But I think we've realised that Lindelof isn't the levels of Maguire. I think Maguire is our best centre-back. And the other thing is we've always been crap at defending set pieces. I always thought we've been crap at defending set pieces. But now, was conceded 2 set pieces versus Leicester without Maguire and 1 versus Liverpool without Maguire. And every time there's a set piece, I just feel like we're going to concede because Maguire we obviously zonal marking that it's not good, but I feel like we've been worse at set pieces without Maguire, and I just feel like Villarreal, tall centre backs, they could be shit, we could dominate, they get one corner, we don't deal with it. I think it's going to be a big miss for the final as well.
Yeah, well, the first and foremost, we let McGoldrick score past us from a set piece, so you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anyone can score past us. We lost to Sheffield United because of set pieces, you know what I mean? Like, it's an absolute shambles, isn't it, really? But in terms of the comment that you mentioned, I find it quite ironic is that we've actually got worse at defending set pieces. Kojo, was it even possible to do that? Like, was it possible, Kojo?
Is anything possible with this team? I really don't have to answer that question because I mean it's one of them ones where when you're talking
how
about
I ask you actually? Let me ask you this actually in case because obviously I'm in the WhatsApp group with you and so I know your thoughts. I can't remember what game it was, but one of the games you were saying it wasn't the centre back's fault; it was a full back's fault. I can't remember the top of my head what game.
You know what? Again, though,
it might
that's
be
a lot
Williams and tell us that game actually.
It might have. Oh yeah. That was a disaster class. But I get frustrated with our fullbacks a lot, and it tends to be the same sort of pattern where the ball comes from the opposition's right side, which would be aka Luke Shaw's side or Tellis' side, being whipped in, and whether it's Williams or Wan-Bissaka, the positioning's poor. That's one big issue we need to address because opposition find it easy to whip balls over Lindelof. Lindelof's not the most dominant in the air with or without pressure. And Wan-Bissaka's positioning at times is, or most of the time anyway, is just non-existent. It's not good enough. So it's one of them ones where that's an issue we need to address quickly and fast because I'm getting fed up with the fact that we're talking about our fullbacks improving, but we're still conceding silly goals that we shouldn't be conceding, particularly at fullback areas. And that's where I don't blame the centre backs. Yes, Maguire has had his faults. I've criticised him a lot of the time. Lindelof has had his faults. He is at times very weak, but it's very easy to get in behind the fullbacks. I've said that time and time again. So I feel like that's a huge issue we need to address quickly because Wan-Bissaka is supposed to be one of the best defensive fullbacks in the league and in Europe. Yeah. But we're criticising his positioning and his reading of, or at least trying to track runs when it's not coming directly at him. He's quite poor at that, so that's a big issue for me anyway.
Yeah, no, I think Wan-Bissaka has been. What was the goal that conceded the other day? I don't remember who we were playing against.
Wan-Bissaka took in against Fulham.
Oh, was it Fulham?
Yeah,
yeah, it was Fulham, of course. Yeah, I actually watched that back. It was Wan-Bissaka's fault, but at the same time, it was
also Lindelof.
And Lindelof as well, yeah.
Luke Shaw was to blame as well. He stepped up for no reason. So I don't know if that he shouldn't have stepped up. There was a midfielder there. I think Pogba was there. He was going to go across and cover it, but Luke Shaw just vacated the winger and then obviously got the crossing. But there's too many catalogue of errors, which is the issue for me.
It was the same thing in the Liverpool game as well.
Yeah, exactly. Probably that Liverpool game should flip.
And Leicester as well.
Three mistakes before that goal, wasn't it? Where Luke Shaw tried his masterclass to take half the team on. Dean Henderson obviously made his mistake. And I think there was another error before Luke Shaw even got the ball. Fred, he gave the ball away.
I'm just going to assume it was Fred. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to assume it was Fred. Fred or Scott, it's always
they're common denominators in mistakes like that.
It must have been one of them too. But I remember the Sheffield again. I'm coming back to Sheffield now because I'm from Sheffield, so I remember their games. But that goal that we conceded against Sheffield United. Forgotten his name that scored, but it's when it deflected off one of our players and it went to the roof of the net. Well, we made the same mistake 3 times. And had 3 occasions. Yeah, I hit Twan-Sabi, yeah, that's right. But we had 3 occasions to clear the ball, and I think that just sums up our defense the whole season. It's absolutely baffling that we're actually in. We're second, aren't we? And Jerry's just put his trademark question. Yeah, is it coaching for the? Is it coaching or players? So, Chris, I'll pass that to you. Do you think the players need to take more responsibility? Does this further emphasize how important it is that when you get a centre back this summer, or do you think that some of it's down to coaching as well? Where do you sit on that matter?
Yeah, I think defensive coaching is definitely a problem. I mean, Alice touched on the zonal marking, which I'm not a fan of, but some teams do use zonal marking and they do it well. We just don't do it well, and I don't think we have the personnel for it, especially without Maguire. Maguire, he suffers a little bit with what Pogba suffered with when he first came, where people look at price tag first. Well, he's not worth that amount of money, therefore he's not doing well. Which the answer is somewhere in between, right? Yes, if you got some pace beside him, he would absolutely be better. Maguire would be better defensively. We have a tendency to send both fullbacks forward at the same time and leaving like the four, Fred, McTominay, and the two centre backs, and none of them are going to do it. Like literally, look at them, and it is panic stations. Aaron Wan-Bissaka plays like somebody that learned to play football at 21. Like he's good at one-on-one defending.
When he
the
goes
best
halfway
defensive
line,
fullback in the world. You know, the dad comes in the park, yeah. He's like, I can tackle you, but his positioning, he's like on the pitch awareness of like where he should be and when. It's almost non-existent. So that can be coached into him. Non-existent is harsh. Like he's done really well this season, but a lot of the time he found in positions where he couldn't be. He's not particularly good going forward. So why are you not playing to his strengths and keeping him in a position where he can help us defensively? So yeah, the answer is somewhere in between, really. I think the marking at set pieces ultimately is going to cost us. We have quite big players on the pitch as well. I know Cavani's not particularly tall, but he comes back for him. He's good in the air. McTominay, he's like 6 foot odd. You got Maguire, you got Lindelof in there. We should be able to mark set pieces. We shouldn't be conceding every week from set pieces. So yeah, I think the coaching's part of the problem. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Obviously, you kind of alluded to Wan-Bissaka's marking. I think that seems to be a common theme regarding the whole back four, to be honest. They all seem to have the tendencies of switching off. Lindelof as well. Like, I'm a fan of Lindelof, and Lindelof is such a weird player. Like, he could be absolutely phenomenal and then be absolutely shocking. Like, it's so weird. Like, he's so weak on the ball. I'm actually sick and tired of seeing
He is physically so poor for Premier League centre back.
I'm tired of him getting bullied off the ball. Like, he's not the only one. The other ones making mistakes. But surely we can't have a centre back who's getting bullied off the ball, man.
It's terrible. So sometimes he gets bullied against players you just don't expect. I'll tell you something we have noticed in the last couple of weeks, though, where Luke Shaw's done so well this season, likes to bomb forward, and without Maguire covering his space,
he's not done it.
The whole thing falls apart.
Yeah,
covering Luke Shaw's hole is something that the other players that have played in the position haven't been able to do. So that's something worth looking at as well. But yeah, add the pacey centre back in. I do think it changes the dynamic quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think everyone's past the Lindelof problem, because we've seen it over the whole season now, where sometimes the balls come in, all you have to do is header it away. He's not done it, or a simple tackle. He gets bullied, and when he gets bullied, he doesn't get bullied like easily. It's very, very quick. If anyone's strong and powerful, they'll easily take him on. Mikel Antonio, I've seen so many players do it this season.
Antonio absolutely destroyed him.
Exactly.
Like, absolutely. But then again, Antonio is a big unit. I'm not going to hate on him for getting bullied. Antonio. Like, I can't be that harsh on him. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's been a common thing. Like, if we were to pull the clips out, I'm sure each of us could, show 3-4 clips of Lindelof, cocking up. And why people are calling Wan-Bissaka out, saying he's tucking in too much to into the box and stuff like that. But the thing is, he's having to cover for Lindelof not being in his position or running off someone else. And every time Wan-Bissaka does get the blame for it, but it's always because he's getting out of his position.
I don't particularly agree with that, because defenders naturally, when one gets out of position, the other shift over. And when it comes to these, especially with these aerial balls, because we always concede goals from aerial balls, whether it's a set piece or it's a normal cross, he is in a position. Now, his position is not good, but he's in that back line. What I don't like about Wan-Bissaka is his lack of awareness.
He comes to win.
He comes to win. And you've got to know where
your shape should always be the same, isn't it?
And the way it is, it's all of them. It's not just Wan-Bissaka. Lindelof does it as well. Xavier does it as well. Bailly does it at times as well. It's the ball watching. It's I'm looking at the ball, and hopefully it comes to my area so I can potentially attack it without knowing what's around me. And players that they should be dominating are dominating them, and it's quite embarrassing.
Yeah. No.
But does that fall into play on zonal marking then? If that's the case,
I hate zonal marking.
I can't stand it. It should strictly be man marking like it was back in the days.
Man marking is just a lot easier, man. Then you know who's our follower as well.
Yeah, you know who your man is. You know who your man is completely. Then don't you?
Yeah, especially from set pieces. I think honestly, I'm baffled that they haven't changed. I've got to be honest. But just going to quickly get some of the comments in, because there's quite a few you commenting. I haven't even read them, so they might be inappropriate. Who knows? Akil, all our players have been a bit switched off of late, including Luke Shaw hasn't been himself lately. Everyone seems to be on the beach. Yeah, absolutely. I think I completely agree with that. Of course, in the final we can't be doing that. Like for me personally, it seems like they've accepted the fact that we've got. As soon as we got confirmed top 4, it seemed that the performance levels have dropped completely.
Burnout, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that there is a case for that. So obviously that kind of leads us on to the Wolves game. But before we do go into that, I kind of just want to touch upon the goalkeeper situation as we're talking about the defense as well. So we may as well obviously touch on the goalkeeper situation. Alice, we'll come to you first and foremost. It seems that there's a bit of an issue at the moment with the goalkeepers because obviously, Henderson didn't have the greatest game against Liverpool. Everyone's seen that picture. Obviously, watched it live of him against Salah. What can I say? I did tell everyone he's not ready. I said that from minute one, day one. I said he's not ready. But even I fell for the bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. Even I was like, no, Henderson could do it. Henderson could do it, and he's too young for me personally. He's not ready. But Alice, what are your thoughts on the Henderson and De Gea situation? Obviously, we've got Wolves, but who do you think is your number one moving forward?
I think the thing is, I think De Gea is our best keeper. I think he had an off season last season and the season before, but we know what De Gea is capable of. I think he lost a bit of confidence, but I think this season he hasn't really done much wrong. He hasn't really made I feel like Henderson's probably made more mistakes in less games this season than De Gea has. And I think Henderson's a good keeper, and I think De Gea's a good keeper. And when people say do you care who plays? I'm like, I don't really care who's in goal for us because I think they're both good keepers. But if I had to pick one, I'd pick De Gea because I just think Henderson is a little I don't know, cocky but inexperienced. He's confident, but I feel like he's so eager to impress that he runs out and he's prone to making mistakes because he's trying to do it the impressive way. There's a lot of times where he runs out his box or runs at players and stuff. And I just think with Henderson, I think it's just his lack of experience. And I always thought, why are we keeping 2 top keepers at the club this year? I just didn't think it was going to work. I always thought Henderson should have done another year on loan, just to, 1 year in the Premier League. I think he just needed another year in the Premier League to go on loan. And I think the situation is Henderson would probably be easier to sell than De Gea because his age, you'll get more money for him. His wages are lower. It'll be much easier to sell Henderson than De Gea, but it looks like they're going to sell De Gea, and I don't really know why, because I think he's a keeper. He's got a good 5-6 years in him because keepers don't age that well. But I just think the thing with Henderson is because he's English, I feel like English players get assumed to be better than they are. The thing is with me,
absolutely.
or even British ones, Fred and McTominay, a lot of people think that McTominay is the better of the two, but I always feel like Fred's the better of the two.
Fred is better. Fred is better for me personally as well.
But they'll always say, all the pundits will be like, yeah, McTominay's all right, Fred needs to go. And I think it's this British thing that, if they're British, Martial puts in a stinker, gets slated, Rashford puts in a stinker, no one cares. And I think it's just because Henderson's British that, people put him on the level with De Gea. But I think De Gea, personally, for me, it's just a level ahead. But I think Henderson can reach that level in the future.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point. Parts of it I agree with, parts of it I don't agree with. I think, for me personally, De Gea is the better keeper, but I feel almost Ollie shot himself in the foot in a sense. He had to do it, don't get me wrong. I did agree with him doing it, but because Henderson's had that bad game, it puts him in a bit of a sticky situation because he's now then dropped him, hasn't he, the game after. Obviously put De Gea in for Fulham. Realistically, Henderson would probably play against Wolves and then obviously De Gea for the final. But for me personally, I think he should have just stuck through. I think he should have kept Henderson in the net. After that absolute shambles of a game against Liverpool, I think he should have just stuck by him because I think that if anything, that's probably knocked his confidence a bit. But Claudio, where do you sit on the whole situation with both the goalkeepers? Who would you pick?
I'm still on the Gea side, but I will say it's dangerous for United to sell De Gea this summer because there's no guarantee that United are in for a goalkeeper. Now, I mean, the other option is I think he's retiring, Lee Grant.
Lee Grant's still there. Oh my days,
he is indeed.
What's happened to Romero? Romero's got to go.
Has he not gone yet? Well, I think he definitely wants to leave. I'm shocked
he's out of contract at the end.
He's out of contract as well, so he's got to leave as well. What it is for me is the case of I feel I don't know how people are going to feel about this, but right now I look at Henderson the same way I was looking at Joe Hart when he first started becoming number one at City. He had that
Yeah.
little bit of an arrogant side to him as well. He thought he was the guy, but then eventually, when Pep Guardiola came in and wanted to do something different, he crumbled. And
Yeah.
I feel like right now, what Ollie wants him to do is quite easy and simple for him to do because he's been good at it. But if
Yeah.
it comes to a point where we're not doing, for example, so-called counter-attacking football, it's all about attacking, controlling possession and all that. Has he got the capabilities of taking his level up even higher? I doubt that. I want to see
I'd
that
agree with
elevate.
that, coach. I agree with that, Kojo. But what I would say is, if you're talking about a manager that comes in and wants to play out for the back in a Pep way, then I don't think either of our keepers can do that.
Oh, and no, and I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. But that's what I'm saying right
But
now.
technically, De Gea got the assist for Cavani. I'm just saying.
Technically.
Yeah, I mean, 1 in 8
Technically.
years, not bad.
Hashtag offside.
But
Exactly.
with what I'm saying with it is right now, way Ole wants to play what's for the both of them. But why I think it's dangerous is because if you are a goalkeeper, and I feel like or even a footballer in general, you get too comfortable with the fact that you don't have competition. If we lose De Gea, Henderson is a certified number one, and there's no one to compete with him. I feel like he could become a bit complacent. So I'm just a bit worried because De Gea didn't become complacent. He suffered a decline. I think he actually tried to do his best to continue to be the goalkeeper that he was, but unfortunately, he just lost form. But you saw in recent games when he's played, he's done well, especially in the game in Europe when he was making a bunch of saves against Roma.
Was that against Roma? Yes.
Yeah.
So he
So
was absolutely phenomenal. De Gea won us that game, to be honest. Like honestly.
I think after last season's FA Cup semi-final, I don't think De Gea's had a bad game since. I've seen all the goals this season. I'm sure we've all seen them, and you can tell in the games that De Gea's played, it's either been a defensive mistake or possibly a screamer. Not that there's been many of them this season, but it's not really been on De Gea. Any of the goals, to be honest, there's not been many on Dean Henderson, but that Liverpool game was just atrocious. I don't know what he was doing for Salah's goal at the end. I think he was just saying, here's the whole
No,
mess.
he made the exact same mistake against Liverpool at Bramall Lane. I was there.
When he stilled it. Yeah.
Against Salah again as well. So it's like
I don't know.
The pressure's got to him there, to be honest.
And there was something I heard. I can't remember. The saying was, he's writing checks, his body can't cash, and that's what's happening. Obviously, you can see the media narrative where it's always calling De Gea out and saying Henderson used to be the number one. Like that day when we played against Fulham and De Gea started in net, the first thing Sky Sports tweeted, never mind the team or anything like that, was like, top clubs have been put on alert as Dean Henderson could be leaving this. I was like, you know what? He's just been dropped for one game. What does that tell you? What about De Gea when it happened to him all season? Was there any talk of it then? So
obviously Man City, they rotate the shit out of their team, but we're not allowed to, and it's, we're not allowed to have any strength in depth. We've got a comment here. This is probably my favorite comment of all time. Listen, lads, ladies, just listen to this, right? Oh God, Varane and Didi, Sancho and Kane in.
I love that.
Imagine the scenes.
We'd win the lot. We'd win the lot.
Varane, Sancho, oh man, indeed, and Kane. That would be absolutely outrageous.
We would actually win the lot. We'd win the league by maybe 6-7 points. We'd win the Champions League, win the FA Cup, win the Carabao Cup.
Oh God!
But the thing is, the Glazers will never ever do that. We'll be lucky to get two.
I was just about to say, I don't think we're going to get two. Well, I'll ask you guys now. Obviously, Chris, what do you reckon? You've heard what everyone said about De Gea and Henderson sort of thing, but in terms of the summer expectations, what are you expecting from the board? Because Ollie, to an extent, has kind of held up his part of the bargain, really, because he's got us top four. Once again, yes, he needs to secure the Europa League. We all know that. But whether he secures the Europa League or not, the board still have to do their job now, don't they, really?
They do, but whether they will are two totally different questions. I think we'll get three. I'm going to be optimistic enough to say we'll get three. Sort of coming back to your goalkeeper situation slightly, is that we've got two top keepers, so we absolutely have to sell one. And in the end, prime Henderson is never going to be prime De Gea, but one is sort of on the up in their career and young, and the other one is going to start coming down. And you'll still probably get more money for De Gea because of his reputation anyway. So that might be the way to go on that. If we sell a couple, maybe De Gea or Henderson, whichever one you like, Lingard, Dalot, potentially Phil Jones, Any positions that we feel obviously we could sell one in that same position, even maybe Donny van der Beek if he's not going to be part of what his plans for next
Don't
season.
forget Andreas Pereira.
Then maybe we could get the 4 positions that someone mentioned in there. Not 4 players of that quality at that price, but the 4 positions if we make selling. But I expect we'll get 3.
Yeah, no, I think for me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably be happy with 3 if it's the right 3 positions. But you know, you kind of mentioned Lingard, and you didn't mention Martial, but I will mention Martial. There's a lot of speculation regarding Lingard and Martial for Kane. Personally, I don't believe these rumors because they're too good to be true. But Fahad, we'll come to you first and foremost, man. Harry Kane is available. Do Manchester United go to town and make sure they secure, you know, one of the greatest strikers we've seen in the Premier League in terms of the history? But you know, where do you sit on the whole Harry Kane situation, or do you think he's destined for City?
You know what? If we had Man City's owners all day long, but if you're asking me, you know, if we are gonna rule it out, simple as, because I think he's too much, and for United, like in terms of everything, we need to focus on different positions. We need a centre back, we need a central defensive midfielder, and we need someone on the right wing. So if you was to ask me, obviously, if there's Varane or Koundé available, that would be my choice of centre back, possibly Pau Torres if them two were not. In midfield, obviously, everyone would say Rice, but Rice, I think they're gonna have prices on him, and you know we can't have that British tax on every player. So I'd even be happy with, you know, a cheaper version, which would be Bissouma, possibly Locatelli, or that Coop Miners, who I've seen a couple of times and he's brilliant. I don't think many people have heard of him, but he's actually really good. I'm sure Bayern are already in for him. And then obviously the right wing, we missed out on Sancho last year. And to be honest, I was checking football Twitter every bloody day, about 50 times a day, just for us to be signing Jadon Sancho. And that didn't happen. But if I could pick my 3, and if it was the 3, then obviously any central defensive midfielder, like I've said, a centre-back and a right winger. I think the striker position, because we've signed Cavani down to a new contract, I don't think, obviously, Harry Kane, I know we're in for him. It just depends on how sorry Joel Glazer feels. If he feels that, oh, you know what, I should actually buy him.
Joel
But
Glazer don't care, man.
He does not give a shit.
He's living his best life, man. Yeah,
so that's why I don't think Harry Kane happens. Just before this podcast, I seen on Twitter that there is rumours about Ronaldo, but I wouldn't believe that either. That's just an every year reoccurrence. So let's not believe none of that and just leave that out. Ronaldo
Finally coming back from his loan deal.
Finally.
But yeah,
would you even come back if you was Ronaldo?
Would I come back as Ronaldo?
Would Ronaldo even want to come back? Like even if we offered him the money?
Easy money. Easy.
Look, he's at Juventus. What have Juventus done? Were Juventus doing bits in the Champions League? I think we've had fair dues. I think they did go.
No, but they were winning consecutive league titles until this season, though.
Yeah, 100%. But that's what it's the Italian league, isn't it? They were doing that.
He doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's gonna put it.
Someone else has said no Kane, go for Dan Ings in the chat, but you know it is what it is. I'm gonna slightly disagree with Fad for past Atlas. I personally think you have to do everything in your power to get Harry Kane. You know, I know Kojo's gonna probably agree with me, but like even if it means we I know it's not gonna be a popular opinion, but even if it means we sacrifice Sancho to get Harry Kane, I think I take Harry Kane, and the reason being is because this kind of contradicts what I've said in the past. Because I said I wouldn't take Haaland over Sancho, but the reason I would take Kane is because this guy is proven goal scorer in the Premier League, and the numbers he's put up this season for a shit Spurs team, he would actually win us the title. Like I genuinely believe it. Even with Greenwood, you know, we've got Greenwood, Rashford, Martial potentially, or even get rid of Martial. But we've got options on the right wing. I know it's not ideal.
What about the expensive midfielder?
No, I know. I'm not saying that all the expensive midfielders. What I would personally do, and Cole just said this already, but you know, we spoke off air as well. I didn't even say on air, but I was saying now. You know, I sell Martial 100%. Like I wouldn't even buy an eyelid about it. And this is coming from someone who's like one of Martial's biggest fans. Like, and not because he's had a bad season, but because it's Harry Kane. Like for me personally, we need to be ruthless. Like, at the end of the day, there's too much sentiment involved with that club at the moment. I'm not saying get rid of Rashford, because for me personally, Rashford is still the future of the club. But for me personally, Martial, if he wants to play in strike, he's nowhere near good enough in terms of the level that we want to get to, i.e. winning the Champions League or the Premier League. And if Harry Kane's available, you have to go for Harry Kane. Like, there's just he basically does what Martial does and does what Cavani does. Basically, he's both of them in one. So for me personally, I just think it's an absolute no-brainer. But Alice, I'll pass it to you. You know, where do you say? Do you think we shouldn't go for him, or do you think we need to go and get Kane, like I've said?
I think this summer for me is all about CDM and centre back, and then I still think a right winger, because I think Greenwood is better. He's going to be a centre forward. We've got Cavani for another year, and one of the reasons I feel like we need a CDM, I know Harry Kane is fantastic. One of the reasons I feel like we need a CDM and a centre back and a right winger is because I feel like they're the three key areas I think can actually like step us up a level. And I think they should be a priority. And I just think like we might not get him, but like next summer, Haaland's going to be available for 60 mil, and I don't think Kane will leave.
We're not getting Haaland. No,
and I think Kane won't leave Spurs this summer, because I don't think United will get him. He's too expensive. And I think next summer, Cavani's contract's gone. There's Kane and there's Haaland on the market, you know, and it's going to be between us, City, and Chelsea to get one.
But Kane's going to be what? Is he going to be 28, 29 next season?
28.
Yeah,
28.
But I'm thinking if we got Sancho, let's say this summer, we got a CDM and a centre back. Realistically, with Sancho, CDM, and centre back, you'd expect us to be doing something good. Like, I don't know winning the league with City, but you'd expect us to be really looking like a top team. And I just think you never know with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his Norwegian links, Sancho being there. In a year's time, if we actually build on the squad, maybe we have that draw to get Haaland in, you know, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Sancho and stuff.
That's dreamland, that, for me personally. Like, I hear what you're saying, and to be fair, you've looked at it more logically, I'd say, because it does make more sense. I don't think Kane realistically, Kane wants to leave. It's quite clear with the comments he said, but he's going to be too expensive. He's probably going to get priced out, similar to what we've done with Paul Pogba. I don't
think he'll get priced. Sorry, Usmaan. I don't think he'll get priced out of City though. I think they'll end up with him if that's who they want and that's who their owners want.
Do you think City will pay 150 million for him?
I don't think it'll be 150, but 110, 120.
120, yeah, 120. I think 120 mark.
I don't think Levi. I don't know if he said 150. I'm just assuming he has, but when he says a price, that guy don't drop for shit. That's my best opinion. I don't know.
They could go full. They've got the money, haven't they? They could go full PSG and just do whatever.
You have to remember they could win the league and the Champions League, so they are gonna have the funds there to be able to do a deal like that. So it's not something that should be ruled out.
Okay, let me just ask you a question on the back of that then. Obviously, you're saying City are going to get him. Surely, if we sign Sancho, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, right? We sign Sancho and Varane, I don't know, and Bissouma, for example. Right, so we sign them three, right? And City sign Harry Kane. We ain't going to win the league anyways. Like, we can't let Man City sign Harry Kane. For me personally, that can't happen, Coach. Surely we can't let them sign Harry Kane. They're not going to go for Sancho. They're going to go for Kane. Obviously, we know that. We can't let City take Kane. No,
and if us five ran the club, that's what would happen. But we don't, and the Glazers don't care that much.
But that's because City for the last 3 years have had their wing side sorted. Like, on the left, they're fine. On the right, they're fine. Even in attacking midfield, they're fine. So they don't have to worry about that. Their situation is, well, we're losing our top goal scorer in the history of our club, and someone that's helped us dominate the Premier League. So what we need to do is get another striker to continue that trend. Oh, but Harry Kane's available. Let's do it.
And if they only signed Kane, they'd be absolutely fine.
And exactly,
for us, we only signed Kane, we wouldn't be fine.
Because their squad is so stacked, they could actually offer a bit less cash and add in one or two players inside that deal. Whereas with us, the players that we want to add are the bums that we don't want.
Lingard and Martial, relax, man. They're not that bad.
Okay, all right, that's a bit harsh, but
Lingard and Martial will do well at Spurs, to be fair. It's
not that they wouldn't do well, but Levy is not in a position that we were. Tottenham's position right now is different to when they sold us Berbatov. Because when they sold us Berbatov, we sent Fraser Campbell on loan. That was a nothing loan. That was like take this guy. We don't need him. He ended up at Blackpool at the end of the day. Whereas they are not a top side right now. They're not a strong team, but financially they're still kind of strong anyway. And because of the repetition they've built over the years through Pochettino, what they kind of did getting into Europe and then finally getting to the Champions League final, they're in a stronger position to just say, we can demand whatever the hell we want. And the guy's still got 3 years left in his contract because he signed a 6-year deal 3 years ago.
Exactly.
So it's one of the ones where
for Man City earlier saying Kevin De Bruyne.
That comment about Kevin De Bruyne is
exactly.
So he can piss off, man. Get Sancho in.
But honestly,
said about Pogba, Bruno.
The thing is, look, if Kane was to come, it stunts Mason Greenwood's growth. He's been playing at centre forward, and as you've seen in the Leicester game, he's got that striker's instinct. I slightly don't think so. I kind of disagree slightly. I think he can learn from Kane as well. He's got Cavani.
But he's got Cavani for one more year.
For one more year.
And I like the idea of, you don't have to even sell Martial. Martial will have to probably just firm going back on the left to compete with Rashford to have a starting berth. That's what competition is about. And if he doesn't like that, then he can go.
Yeah.
If he doesn't like the competition side of it, then he can go.
I love Martial, but he threatens to deceive because if you look at what Cavani's done in this short time he's been here compared to Martial, that pulls apart.
I was watching Cavani's goals today because I watch him every day and it just gets me going in it. I was watching all his goals. I was watching all his goals for Man United. They are pure strikers' goals.
His movement is second to none.
Yeah,
even the goal he scored against Fulham, could you imagine Martial saying, "No, let's go love the keeper from here"? He wouldn't do it.
Oh, I was thinking about he'll start running toward the keeper and end up cracking up.
All right, okay. I got a comment here I want to put on the screen because to be fair, this is a valid point, and Alice, I'll throw it to you. If Kane wants to win stuff, why pick United? Right there's Man City and Pep, absolutely no brainer. So Alice, do you feel like Man United are going to start to miss out? Look, we've heard about Sancho to Chelsea as well. Chelsea might be more of an enticing project. We could potentially miss out on both, the big hitters, so to speak. Do you still think Man United has that draw of, for these sort of big players?
I think Man United's Man United, and I think we do because, in a weird way, it sounds bad, but we can pay the wages as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think because it's the Premier League, I think Lille have just won League One, and Usmaan wants to go to Leicester, who aren't going to win the Premier League. I think there's this thing about the Premier League as well. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're looking at 4 Premier League clubs, it's Liverpool, United, Chelsea, and City with the most draw. And I think if we're getting second and we got third, and I think if we become a consistent top 4 club, and I don't want to turn into Arsenal under Wenger where we are a consistent top 4 club, but I think if you become a consistent top 4 club, you know that you're 2 or 3 signings away from where you want to be. It just depends if the owners want to do that. And I think if I was a player like Declan Rice or someone like that, I'd want to come to United. The only thing is, do we have the draw for a Harry Kane? I think definitely we're an upgrade on Spurs, but I think Harry Kane wants a trophy. I think we could get good players.
Kane has to win a trophy now. He's done that whole I'll see it out, at Spurs. He's got to come to United with that aspirations of winning the league.
Is this not a little bit like the Robin van Persie situation when he had a choice of going to City or Man United, and they were similarly above us to what they are now? I know we had Ferguson, but we were still not as good as City. He came, he turned it around, and we won the league. And no one expected
it. Sometimes one signing. Sometimes it takes one signing.
Yeah, he went for football history rather than the oil money.
Can I just reiterate this point as well? Akil in the comments said it as well. If City sign Kane, is basically irrelevant. It will be signed, and he's kind of said that we have to sign Kane. And you've kind of said it with the Van Persie, which is a great example. Surely for me, Persie, Kane gets us the Premier League. Like I know, look. I know we have other areas to work on. For me personally, I would just go Kane and DM. Like, I know we need a centre back, don't get me wrong. I know we need other positions as well. And he said that we can address that situation next season. But even if we got Kane and let's say Declan Rice, right, or even Basuma, Ndidi, whoever it may be, I personally think that's still good enough to win the title. Like, that's for me personally. Like Alice, what do you reckon? Do you think Kane's that big of a signing, or do you think I'm slightly overreacting here?
I think Kane would be a brilliant signing and all of that, and I think he would definitely step us up a level. But I just look at our squad and I go, our problem isn't really scoring goals. We scored a lot of goals this season. Cavani's got a good finish on him. Kane is obviously a world-class player, but if you look at Man City's squad, Man City never really did massive £100 million signings. A lot of Man City has been at 3 or 4 £50 million signings in a window. You know, they don't go for that one Galactico every summer and stuff. City have built up a squad with 40, 50, 60 million pound signings every summer, 2 or 3 of them. And I just think with United, I think Kane could be like the icing on the cake, but I just think there's so many more positions that need strengthening before striker, especially with Cavani staying another year, and especially that Lindelof, McTominay and Fred, like, you have to.
Yeah,
I just
that
even with
trifecta needs
Kane,
to go ASAP.
even with Kane, you cannot win a title with Lindelof, McTominay and Fred. Like, we're carrying them. We are carrying them. And I just think
one could dream, man. 5-4s every week or whatnot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally. I just think, look, 50 million on a CDM, don't care who it is, just a CDM that we know Ole will trust to start. 50, 60 million on a centre back like Jules Koundé or Varane. And I think that takes us up. I think almost £350 million signings would be better than Harry Kane, because I just think it's the City approach. Like, they never really did Galacticos. They did a lot of,
100%.
signings like that.
That was our approach first. They took it from us on the Search Ferguson.
And legit, man. That's what we used to do, man. But now, obviously, the robbed us of everything, really. But listen, let's finish off with the Wolves game. For me personally, it's completely irrelevant. I'm not going to lie. You know, however, the manager has been sacked. Ruben Neves is someone that people are, mentioning as well. So potentially an audition. Not that we need one, because he loves to score against us for whatever reason. Chris, we'll come to you first and foremost. If you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, how do you play this game? You know, do you go, do you experiment? Do you risk players, or are you completely resting your team?
I'd only give the minutes to people that need the minutes. Other than that, I would rotate. I just think, was it 3 days before the Europa League final?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to see like Cavani playing at his age, for instance, not being 100% for the game on Wednesday. I think he would definitely need to be dropped. Obviously, I think Fred and McTominay are both out, aren't they, for this one as well? I don't know whether they're going to be back for
most likely
next Wednesday.
Mejbri and Van der Beek or something, I'd say.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I wasn't even aware of that.
Hannibal, it's because it's last game of the season. I did see Solskjaer mention in his press conference that Shortire and Hannibal will be getting some minutes for this game. I don't know how much. They might not start, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd play pretty much a second string. If you're planning to play
like
anyone
that
in the
Leicester
final,
game, basically.
That maybe hasn't been getting minutes recently, like Van der Beek, for example. If he's going to have to play that game because Fred and McTominay are going to be unavailable, then play him in this one as well. Get 90 minutes under his belt. Other than that, I'd go pretty much second string.
Fair enough. Fahad, you send the Leicester team. So, it's interesting you said that, because I probably do agree with that to the extent, I'm not going to lie. But is it important that we do get a momentum? Because we haven't actually won. We've won one game in 5, and I believe that was. I don't know what game it was. Well, I don't know, because was it we lost to Roma as well, the second leg. So
the thing is, out of this, out of the starting 11, possibly there'll be maybe 1 or 2 players that are going to start on Tuesday.
Bruno's definitely going to play.
Bruno most likely. Bruno will play. But other than that, I think wholesale changes in the team. So is momentum really being carried over to Tuesday, or is it not? Because simple, obviously, it is United, but it's a game that doesn't really hold much. And to be honest, I don't think we were too bad against Fulham. We just didn't put our chances away. Obviously, we conceded.
Form goes out the window as well, doesn't it, in the final?
Yeah, form goes out the window as well. Because like I said, we finished second in our league. We've done brilliant. Well, at the beginning of the season, we were looking at 6th, 5th.
Yeah.
Not even top 4. Always, overachieved, if you ask me, this season. Obviously, he did well last season, but because he didn't get a summer that you wanted in, he got nowhere near what he should have. But obviously, you have to make the most of a bad situation, and we finished second. We're playing a team that's finishing 7th in their league. So that does obviously show, but like you say, form goes out the window. I think personally, this game.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think Ollie's overachieved at all. I don't know what coach was thinking when he said that, but I don't think he's overachieved. I really don't. I think second, okay, fair enough, he's done well. But you got to look at the other teams as well. They've been shambolic. Like, we've not won a game in 5, and we're still comfortably second, which says a lot about the rest of the competition.
The points total isn't very good, is it?
Yeah, but you know, that was just toward the end when we got screwed over.
City are winning the league with 81 points. Like, well, technically they could have won it with 76 or whatever it is. I don't know how much. Are we on 71? If I'm
on 71, and we've got the last game.
Yeah, so exactly. So we only can get 74. So the title's been won with 75 points, which just
to be fair to Ollie, you could probably write off the last 3 games. If we needed to win them, we might have got more than 1 point.
That's
I think obviously he knew once top 4 was secured, people like, you know what, sit back, relax. I think the players dropped their heads a little bit. Otherwise, imagine we did get another 9 points, then what are we on? 80 points. How many points were we behind them?
Well, we'd be 2 behind.
3 points.
3 points behind the title, which for me personally
there
is pissing me off.
I think Jose's team got 81.
Yeah.
Jose's
team got 81. Yeah, but exactly. Jose got a decent summer then.
Did he? I don't think he did. I to be honest, like if
he did, it's the summer after he didn't.
Oh, was it? Sorry,
that's
I think he got.
I'm sure he got
Pogba, Ibra, Mkhitaryan.
Okay.
But again, it's a long discussion. But you know, a lot of those signings weren't particularly done by him. So you know how it goes. You know how it goes, man.
And we don't know what his first options were either. Because remember, half of the players that United do sign are the 6th, 7th options.
Yeah, no. Listen, let's get your thoughts on this. Obviously, in terms of your lineup for Wolves, obviously don't go into too much detail because it's a bit of a dead rubber game. You know, where do you sit in the whole situation? Are you in the sort of camp that let the youngsters go on and get their minutes, get a bit of experience, or do you think it's important that we keep some of the first team fresh as well?
Obviously, again, we don't want to lose just because I know it means nothing, but it's a bit of momentum. We haven't won one of our last 3-4 Premier League games. I think you have to have a mix of both. I think you need like the characteristics of Bruno. I think you need like someone like Bruno on the pitch, maybe Greenwood. I know he's young, but he's been better than Rashford the last 3 months. Donny, give him some minutes, maybe Matic for experience. And then you maybe look at, Hannibal Mejbri, Amad Diallo. I think they're 2 players that definitely should be getting minutes in this game. Charlotte Satiri, maybe you rest Luke Shaw so he's fresh for the Villarreal game, because I think Luke Shaw's looked a little bit overplayed. And I think Tuanzebe, I think it's a mix of sort of young and experience. But if I was going to give like a debut, I think he's got to be Hannibal Mejbri. I'd love to see him get some minutes. But Ahmad and Donny and Tuanzebe have to play for me, I think. 2 players that I don't think have had enough minutes so far. But then a little bit of experience as well.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I think in terms of, it's interesting actually with the Bailly situation as well, Coach. Like obviously, does Bailly play on Sunday? Which one of the centre backs do you think needs to play on Sunday? Who's your centre back pairing? Because obviously one of them needs to pair Lindelof by the looks of it for the game on the Wednesday.
I'd say regardless of whether Bailly starts or not, he needs minutes. So even if he doesn't start the game, give him at least half an hour to run it out. Yeah. Just keep him fresh. I know people will talk about like Semps was saying, I think on with Ty that he would rather just wrap him up in cotton wool and not let them play. But for me, it's just like sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you just need players to keep going, keep their momentum going. Because someone like Bruno Fernandes don't do well with rest. He wants to keep going. He has to keep playing and playing and playing. So that might be a Bailly thing. But at the same time, as we said earlier, if he's fit, then you got Bailly. Bailly still can't be trusted with fitness. He ain't had a good run of fitness. And when I say good run, I'm talking about at least 3 months where he plays consistent games. So that's another thing. But yeah, I would actually give him a start and then sub him off by the 60th minute so that he's had a good run out and then he should be okay for the final. Because he has to start over Tuanzebe. He's better than Tuanzebe, so he has to start.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Tuanzebe for me isn't the one at the moment. He needs a lot of time. I think a lot of people were very critical of him in terms of like obviously lack of experience. There's a comment here just before we finish off by Big Rams to have a chat conversation. But he's saying United kind of struggle when they take their lead. They haven't got a clue what they do, which seems to be the case at the moment because like our ability to manage the game is non-existent at times. It really is. So I'm slightly apprehensive of how we get on the final, but obviously we'll do the preview for that on the Tuesday. Before we go, just want to get everyone's score predictions. Fahad, we'll start with you again. Very dead rubber game, but it is what it is. We always got to do score prediction. What do you reckon for Wolves? What's the score prediction?
I'd say 2-1 United.
Fair enough. Alice, what are you saying?
Honestly, Man U Wolves is never a high-scoring game, so honestly, I would say 0-0 wouldn't surprise me.
Oh God, I'm gonna make sure I'm not tuning into that one. Listen, I'm gonna have my Crystal Palace kit out. That's all I'm saying. Kojo, what do you reckon? What's the score prediction, bro?
1-1.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And Chris, what you saying?
2-1 United.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna say 3-3. Why not? No, I'm joking. It's probably gonna be like a draw as well. It's probably, I'm thinking 1-1, but we'll say 2-2. But listen, just before we wrap it up, as always, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel before we go. Fire, just shout out your socials. Let the people know where they can find you, bro.
At United Agenda.
Yes. We've got a lot of agendas here, obviously. Chris's football agenda and all that good stuff. Alice, where can the people find you?
Just type in Alice Talks Football on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and yeah, cheers.
Yes. Kojo, where can the people find you?
On here, of course, Usmaan Talks United channel. Every Wednesday, the Kojo Show. Every Monday, Rebel Fans Podcast. And wherever I can get my face on Usman's channel, I am there. And Free Midfield on Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify,
Yes.
and a podcast. Free Midfield on YouTube, Free Midfield Podcast. That's the one. There we go.
Yes. You love to see it. And last but not least, Chris, where can the people find you?
I fixed my Twitter handle, so it's not at the Football Agenda. You'll be pleased to hear, Usman. And also, yeah, type in the Football Agenda onto YouTube. You can find me on there. I'm working on some mad stuff, by the way, in the background. Check me out.
You love to see it. Obviously, make sure you show love to all the socials. Obviously, drop a like and subscribe to their channels as well. Obviously, you can find myself here on Usmaan Talks United and on Twitter, Usmaan Talks United. I'm trying to think what day of the week is. It's Friday, isn't it? We have got content coming for you on the Sunday.
On the weekend.
It's probably gonna be a last day special. I don't know what game I'm gonna watch. I haven't decided yet, but most likely it's not gonna be Man United because, as the guys have said, it's probably gonna be 0-0. So we're probably gonna get the Crystal Palace shirt out. Wilfred Zaha are gonna do it one more time for the
Please,
boys.
Palace, please.
And you love to see it. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Monday, as Coach just said, it's gonna be an absolute banger. We're gonna be chatting shit to Kish. He's finally back. Obviously, Spurs fans ain't happy because they're getting Nuno Espirito Santos. But anyways, it's been your boy Usmaan. Stay tuned for more content. Drop like, subscribe to the channel, and get your comments in. Peace.